And it is my pleasure to bring from His Majesty the King.
Everybody's celebrating today. The front pages are almost united.
It's an invitation for a second state visit.
Charmer Starmer pulls off diplomatic win. The Sun goes for special delivery. The Mail, what an unlikely bromance.
Coffee is among the most popular beverages in the world, but climate change is threatening its production.
There are prices that in no way do justice to the work involved in growing coffee. We need a different approach.
Controversial influencers Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan just touched down in Florida after spending the last 2 years detained in Romania.
Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct.
Ladies and gentlemen and everything in between. Welcome back to A. Thompson and Other Disappointments, episode 353 now, of your twice weekly podcast, in which we dive headfirst into the dumpster fire of UK and indeed international politics and current affairs and news and stuff and all things awful, with all the enthusiasm of a dad being dragged along to Bluey Live. Guys, I'm your host, the Left Honourable A. Thompson, and join me now as together, once again, we explore the latest in governmental incompetence, societal collapse, and the occasional feel-good story. Guys, that is almost always, invariably, actually just a cellophane-wrapped, paper-thin PR campaign for somebody's benefit. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? It's me, it's you, it's Booge. For the next hour or so, it's no-holds-barred nihilism and shit-talking. Let's just get into it, shall we? Let's single-handedly increase the intellectual curiosity of mankind by making you question the intelligence of it. Boom! Let's get into it. What's first, guys? What should we talk about first tonight? There's been a lot going on this week, as per usual. Has there not? No shortage of news stories, of bad news stories going on out there. Flowing through those mediums of tedium that we call the mainstream legacy press. What's been happening? Gene Hackman's dead. Don't know if you saw that. Gene Hackman and his wife have died. They don't really know what's caused it yet. A German election took place. German general election. It saw the rise, the fall, and the rise again of the far Reich. The Tate brothers. People trafficked themselves out of Romania over to the United States. This all started last week when the Trump administration, or representatives thereof, lobbied to have their bail conditions relaxed, the Tate brothers, which they then were. And that's when they caught a private flight out of there. Just leave Romania straight to Florida, where Floridan Governor Ron DeSantis has told them that they're not welcome. You're not welcome here, lads. Tate brothers, you are not welcome in Florida. Like, imagine that shit. Imagine that. Someone as fundamentally unlikable as Ron DeSantis tells you that he doesn't like you. Like, how do you reflect on that? Like, how do you reason with that? Somebody as unlikable as Ron DeSantis tells you that he doesn't like you. That must mean that you are either a pro-gay, family-friendly entertainment corporation like Disney, or you are really unlikable. What else has happened? Suella Braverman Suella Braverman, friend of the show, she wrote a piece for The Telegraph, I think it was. She wrote a piece for The Telegraph, ostensibly removing her own national identity. She says she is not English and she would never claim to be, and she could never be considered English, even though she was born here. Even though her parents have presumably got citizenship, and she herself was born here, educated here, she would never consider herself English. So yeah, Suella Braverman there, writing for The Telegraph, removing her own national identity. Like, truly now, truly. We are reaching a point now where people like Suella and Kemi, they have become so radicalized now by this point. Like, honestly, they are 2 cans of Stella and a Spectator article away from deporting themselves to curry favour with the Tommy Brigade. Will they like me if I deport myself? Probably still not, Kems. Almost certainly not. They're never going to like you, I'm afraid. BP, British Petroleum, have also been in the news this week. Why have BP been in the news, Aid? Well, I'll tell you, impatient imaginary listener / heckler. BP abandoned their green programs to shift focus this week. Less renewables, fewer renewables, fuck hydrocarbons and fuel cells and all that. BP were riskily, shrewdly pivoting this week back to old oil and gas guys. Woo! You see, a lot of you people were cynical, weren't you? A lot of you people were cynical at Rachel Reeves' press release where she said we need to protect the non-dom community. Do you remember that? But think, what would we do without the non-doms, without the entrepreneurs, without the business people like these, making these sorts of decisions? We wouldn't have outside-the-box thinking like we're seeing now, exhibited by BP. I mean, which British entrepreneurs, which British business minds, guys, could have steered the British Petroleum tanker innovatively back to more oil and ecocide? I just don't know. I can't imagine. Really innovative, outside of the box thinking there from BP, abandoning their fuel cells, their hydrocarbons, their green initiatives, steering that thing right back to big oil and gas guys. I'm excited. I hope you are too. Maybe more on that later. First, let's briefly discuss, guys. Let's briefly discuss the topsy-turvy opposite world of US politics for but a moment, shall we? Because last week, Donald Trump called Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a failed comedian, but more concerningly, a dictator was the line that got all of the news. I say more concerningly about the dictator bit. I don't know if you've noticed, but failed comedians. It's not really an area of discussion that I feel too comfortable venturing into too often. Whenever the subject of failed comedians comes up, that's the only time I'm ever like, let's not make people feel bad about themselves. So he called him a dictator, and now this week he's praising him, isn't he? He says he's got a lot of respect for him. He says that they actually have a very good relationship between Donald Trump, Volodymyr Zelensky. And of course, when a White House reporter asked him if he still thinks that Zelensky, is a dictator, then Donald Trump replied, he said, "Did I say that?" Like, he's like, did I call him that? Really? I did. Okay. Wow. Like the same sort of surprise and regret that most of us would normally reserve for like the morning after. a big night, a hard night out. Like, did I really fucking say that? I did what? I was snorting coke off the barmaid's tits in the cloakroom. Again. And then I danced to Sum 41 singing I'm a Golden God. Oh my God. What is wrong with me? I said that. I did that. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. No more Jaeger bombs for me. That's it. I know I said it before. I know I mean it this time. No more Jaeger. Like, Donald Trump is playing politics, like, on the fly. He has the same, like, low inhibitions with politics on the fly as the rest of us do on that one night out that we have. Like, once a year we go out like that. And he's just running the free world like that. So, he called him a dictator. Then the White House reporter this week says, do you still think he's a dictator? And he says, did I say that? Like, he sort of dismisses it. And it's reassuring. It's reassuring is what it is. Hope you guys feel reassured by all of this. To hear that he no longer thinks that Vladimir Zelensky is a dictator based on whatever the white teeth hate puppets at Fox News barked at him this morning. Like, that's all it comes down to. I mean, like, the only thing weirder and more frightful than fucking Grandpop Tango spouting inaccurate and volatile language while sitting on a pile of nukes, the only thing weirder than that and more frightful is a senile Grandpop Tango spouting volatile language while sitting on a pile of nukes. Like, you don't love it. You don't love it when your dad is frothing and bellowing about Muslims and invasions. Like, you don't like it. You're not a fan of it. While his air rifle is mounted up on the wall, like only like 5 feet away. Like, you're not a fan of that at all. Doesn't fill you with confidence. But when he goes out for a wander at 2 a.m. and gets lost down the country lane, or he starts referring to your sister by your dead mother's name, like that's when you think, I can't help but wonder if there might be a more responsible owner for the fucking air rifle over there. Is somebody that can't even be entrusted with their own toilet paper wiping duties, can they be entrusted with the death machine? I wonder. More on golf cart Mugabe. He met with President Emmanuel Macron this week, which was nice. Guys, made a nice change, I thought, from the US's recent diplomatic strategy of telling Greenland that they're just pretty much going to take them, demanding minerals from Ukraine, internationally rebranding it the Gulf of America, when everybody actually knows it by its proper name, which is Covfefe Cove. Or fucking, Boomer Lagoon or something. Anyway, so he met with Macron. He shook his hand. They smiled before 24 hours later, Trump was back in front of the same cameras, the same mics, suggesting that the European Union was only set up to screw the United States. Guys, within 24 hours of Macron leaving. So Zelensky's a dictator, but they're not. Musk this week, having fired a load of air traffic controllers, Treasury staffers and scientists, then begged them all to come back again, reverse ferreting. Macron is a nice guy, but then immediately afterwards the EU should go and fuck itself. Like, I know he's unpredictable. I know that. I know he's unpredictable. But guys, if you look hard, if you really pay attention, you can spot that there is a pattern here, isn't there? Which is that he says one thing and then almost immediately he reneges on it, right? That's the pattern. He says that he hates you, and then he can't remember saying it. He says that you're all right, and then he tells you that you're part of some sort of imaginary problem. Like, I honestly think that people, or perhaps more specifically, like the media, are so terrified by, let me think, fucking everything. Like, everything now is so terrifying that the slightest sniff or whiff of positivity, of just getting along with somebody, is enough to get people, or the media more generally, just clapping for it like seals. Oh my God. Oh, this is amazing. I like this. Yes, more of this, please. More of this, please, Donald. Yes, we're big fans of it. It's like positive reinforcement, isn't it? Like, don't shout at him. Don't shout at him when he does something wrong. Positive reinforcement. Good boy, Donald. Good boy. You've done so well today. Oh, he's a literally a rapist and a fraudster. But it's important to highlight the positives. He's doing well, isn't he? Good boy, Donny. Like 3 weeks ago, he was literally talking about just taking Canada and Greenland. UK press are like the other parent, the weak parent. You only ever highlight the bad things. You only ever tell him when he's done something wrong. Good boy, Donald. We both think you've been a really good boy, don't we? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's certainly better than the raping. I mean, I look at the coverage of it and I'm like, you know, what am I even looking at here? You know, all the adulation, celebration, Starmer arrives, they both say the special relationship stuff, Starmer praises him, Trump praises Starmer, but it's like you can't take it seriously, man. It's like an awards show podium is what it looks like to me. You know, like that's all any of this is. It's just an awards show, stage and podium kind of thing. Like, imagine like Starmer go, I'd like to present the award for, this is for the bestest, bigliest president in all of Mar-a-Lago. Then Trump's like, and here I am, happy to take the award from you. You know, it's just like that. It's like stage managed, happy to see each other reciprocate. It's like air kisses. Mwah. Oh, thank you, baby. Thank you, baby. It's like, I love you. No, I love you. And that's it. And cut. That's it. Are we done? Yeah, we're done now. Press pull. You can all go home. But then 24 hours later, you know, what's going to happen? You know, did Donald Trump continue to lavish praise on Theresa May? What was the fellatio ratio like between Trump and Boris Johnson as time went on? I don't know if you guys remember this, but as soon as Theresa May got caught in the crosshairs with her Brexit deal versus the United States, I mean, he was telling everyone that Boris Johnson would make a good prime minister. Like, she threw a party in Donald Trump's honor. She was kissing the ring. And he thanked her by saying, I think that the guy that you hate would make a really good prime minister. And so then he's a Boris Johnson fan until Boris Johnson's environmentalism got in the way or conflicted with Trumpism and his drill baby drill mentality. And then suddenly it's like, oh no, Boris Johnson's woke. Boris Johnson is woke. Guys. I don't know if you heard that scoop. Yeah. Boris Johnson. Like that's when you know you need less McDonald's, more medication. Is when you're out here giving press conferences suggesting that Boris letterboxes bum boys and watermelon smiles Johnson is woke. Man. Authoritarian Boris Johnson, who said that we would need a tank squadron to remove him from office. That Boris Johnson is woke now. Boris Johnson, who neutered the Electoral Commission, who dismissed parliamentary institutions as kangaroo courts. He's woke now. Right. Oh, okay. I shall consider myself informed on this matter. You know, while leaning over to Eric and Ivanka Like, yeah, he doesn't own an air rifle or anything, does he? And Ivanka's like, no, he does keep interacting with me like I was his first wife, though. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's uncomfortable sometimes. So, yeah, anyway, Starmer is praised, at least temporarily, by Donald Trump, who says he's a tough negotiator and he has a beautiful accent. But let's see how long that lasts. Shall we? I mean, I joke that it's like two celebrities at an awards podium, pretending to like each other with performative hugs and kisses and all that. But sometimes that works out. Sometimes that's how it starts. Sometimes it works out. I mean, I remember the time that Lisa Marie Presley gave an award to Michael Jackson, and they hugged and kissed on the award show podium, and they even said they were like, oh, they said it wouldn't last, and look at them now.
Prince Andrew's a nonce-burger.
Okay, so should we talk about the climate crisis tonight? Climate change, what's going on, or is it too depressing? We'll touch on it for a minute, shall we? Little climate update. I was looking at America's abandonment of its her green policies this week. The drill baby drill stuff. The fact that they've sacked hundreds of climate scientists off the back of the Doge program. BP are abandoning their own green initiatives. Gatwick and Heathrow are now, each one of them want to expand to the point that they could double their passenger numbers. So, I'm not going to sit here with a calculator and work out what that means for emissions. You guys can draw your own conclusions on that. But it's not looking good. Like, in the round, everything is looking pretty bleak. And I was thinking, like, do people still think that global heating, that the effects of all of this is still like 20 or 50 years away? Do they not understand what is already happening as a direct result or indirect secondary results of this sort of conduct? Like, obviously, there's the weather. We talk about the weather all of the time, in terms of the, the side effects of policies like this, or the cancellation of policies like this. The LA fires, how the 15 worst Californian fires in history have all taken place in the last 20 years, I think it was. The melting of the ice caps. The Thames itself, right, in London, the Thames has already risen by half a fucking foot. Like, in London, the River Thames has risen by half a foot now. And like the BP building is about a 5-minute walk from the real world effects of itself. But still, they're like, oh, gotta get more carbon. Gotta get more oil out of the ground, more carbon. They're like a fucking heroin addict burrowing through the sewer of an airport because they accidentally shat out the baggie. They're just jacked, man. Gotta have more carbon, more oil, more gas. Can't give it up, man. Can't give it up, more carbon. Like, there's truly still this idea that, global warming is like 30 years away. Or whatever, isn't there? And I guess, if we were so self-indulgent as to attempt to psychoanalyze it here tonight, I guess we would say that it is a psychological way of managing the reality of what is probably going to happen to us as a species. Like we accept that it's real and it's urgent, and nobody is really doing anything, or certainly not anywhere near enough, to be able to manage this climate catastrophe. Like, we either accept that that is what is happening, that's the state of things right now, or the other way, maybe that we handle it psychologically is that we say that it's fake and it's not, the climate hoax. It's the climate hoax. It's not even real aid. It's dreamt up by the Chinese to try to keep the West back. Climate change isn't even real aid. That's another way of handling it. Or we say that it is real, but it's nothing to do with humans. It's just a natural phenomenon. Planets heat up and they cool down. It's part of the cycle, blah, blah, blah. Nothing to do with us, so fuck it. There's nothing, like, we shouldn't try to even clean up the world for no reason. We shouldn't try to make life and nature and the planet cleaner and just nicer generally. Why? What if we accidentally make the planet nicer and cleaner and healthier for everyone, but by accident, Aid? What if we do it by accident? Or we say that it is real. We accept that it's real because we, BP, have scientists that tell us that it is real. But we say, it's probably a while off yet. We'll just baselessly believe that it's a while off yet. And it's wild, isn't it? Like when you think about it, like how, like, they can act urgently. They can think in urgent terms when it comes to quarterly profits and turning that oil tanker around. When they need to appease the shareholders, when they need to placate shareholders, then they act urgently. But the extinction of us as a species, well, I'm not sure I see any... I don't see any imminent danger here, lads. Like the climate isn't going to oust me from the board and launch some sort of fucked up hostile takeover, is it? So what are we even talking about? Why are we all so worried? So yes, the effects of climate change are here and now, and they are not always in the weather realm either. It's all connected, obviously. But look at the items of food on your shopping bill at the moment. Yes, some of it has increased in price because of other secondary concerns like, gas, oil prices, the logistics of, petrol-powered cars, getting them from A to B. The cost of renting a warehouse has probably gone up with interest rates. But don't get it twisted, man. Like, a lot of it has gone up in price because the cost of producing produce has had to go up because of the death and devastation that is washing over your crops. Like, there's a piece in The Guardian. In fact, there's a couple of pieces in The Guardian about this, about the price of getting crops processed and brought in to the UK. And they focus specifically on chocolate harvests, which are born from the cacao tree in West Africa, apparently. Probably not saying that right. But the produce, the harvests of these trees is like 30% down. And it's because of a lack of rainfall and because of storms and because of high temperatures, because the trees, the plants themselves, they don't grow the thing that they need to make the chocolate if the temperatures go above a certain, like, Celsius or centigrade, right? So the price of chocolate has gone up as a result of that. Like, Christmas time, it happened. Valentine's, you would have just noticed it. Like, it's all getting mad expensive now. Coffee, same thing. Rising temperatures. It's too hot for the plants to create their produce. It results in low yields in parts of South America. And yet, our infrastructure and industry just carry the fuck on, don't they? Like it's nothing to do with them. Anything for that, 0.01% increase in the dividend. Like, it's so dark. It's like, imagine, put yourself at the BP shareholder meeting. We're like, yeah, we had a, I don't know why it's an American accent, probably should be British, right? Yes, we had a fantastic last quarter. We managed to pull out 500 million barrels of oil from our new downstream, upstream extraction and processing plant. And all we had to do was drill through, just sinkhole through a little elementary school in Greenland. And everyone's like, how much profit did you make out of that? $3.4 billion. All right, and how much is my dividend then? Well, it works out about £1,000 per share. £1,000. Okay, cool. Yeah. Wicked. £1,000. I should be able to just about afford my mocha. I mean, I'm being somewhat comedic here, aren't I? I'm being, a little bit snarky, a little bit, trying to be a little bit funny, but, truly it is absolutely disgusting the way that we in the first world, in these developed industrial nations, just continue to carry on or to allow the corporations to carry on and expect those, agricultural states in the southern hemisphere to just pick up the tab, just leave them with the side effects of this stuff. Like, it's absolutely horrible. And I think we in countries like Britain should feel a deep sense of shame about it, which is why I actually think Suella's... I'm not really actually British, really, when you think about it. I actually think that's a really clever way of avoiding murderous responsibility here. So, yeah, bravo, Braverman. Right, have we got time for a news story? Have we got time for a weird one? A weird news story? Let's get into it, guys. So, here is a story I found just now. It's on BBC News. I love it. I've mentioned before about my love of Weird, like a paid up member, card carrying member of Team Weird. And I've given you loads of examples of this before, but I just super quickly, the one that I've done that I thought was funny, that still it's my favorite photo to this day. My favorite photo that I have of me and my missus is a photo of us holding a photo frame that we're buying in IKEA, and then the photo of us holding it is inside the photo frame up on the... Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, but I love it. I'm so here for the weird. Guys, self-referential is the theme. Self-referential weirdness. So, here's a story. This is on BBC News. Thou shalt not steal painting stolen from church. Thou shalt not steal painting has been... Somebody's looked at it and gone like, yeah, we'll fucking see about that, lad. Let's have a read, shall we? It says, a church warden said it was ironic that thieves stole a painting of the 10 Commandments, including text reading, thou shalt not steal, from a church. Right, okay. Well, just hang on a sec, because the way that it's written leads you to believe that it's a painting that literally says thou shalt not steal on it. Like, that's the main theme of the painting. And then some joker was like, yeah, I'll fucking... challenge accepted. But now you're just telling me that it's including some text that reads thou shalt not steal. Like, that's a stretch. You're leaping there to try to make this funny. I don't know if it's still funny. It says 3 pictures were taken from St. Andrew's Church in Main Road, Little Steeping. It's a cute name, isn't it? For a village, Little Steeping. Sometime before the 23rd of February, Lincolnshire Police said. The paintings in heavy wooden frames also include the text of the Lord's Prayer. All right. It says Church Warden Basil Harwood. This is big. It sounds a bit made up, doesn't it? Number one, is there such a thing as a church warden anymore? A church warden? I mean, churches are fucking empty. What the fuck do you need a warden for? To patrol the halls of the empty church. Like a dinner warden at a school. Fair enough. Kids can be unruly. School halls, school corridors are busy places. You need like a dinner warden at a school. A dinner warden, a school hall warden, or a prison warden, right? A prison warden, because they could be unruly too, and it's super busy. I mean, do you show me a prison in England and Wales that isn't incredibly busy? They're famously, but they're so popular. Now, the UK's prisons, you might have read about it. So prison warden, fine. School warden, school dinner hall warden, I understand that. That's fine. A church warden. A warden for a church to just manage the masses of people who are desperate to come in there. And who actually goes into a church? Is anyone in a church or who still goes to church, are they ever unruly? Well, I don't know. Maybe they are. They're fucking stealing all the paintings. Let's read on, shall we? Maybe we can clarify why there's such a dire need for a church warden. You know, maybe it's like a flight warden. You know, there used to be places of peace and tranquility and quiet consideration. You used to be able to fall asleep on a flight. Used to be relatively safe, you know, but as the years have gone by, the need for an in-flight warden has increased. You know, perhaps flights now are not as safe, as ruly, as opposed to unruly. They're not as ruly as perhaps you might imaginate. You know, these churches today used to be a place of contemplation, holiness, respect. Now it's, you know, it's not dissimilar, Aid. Not dissimilar to a prison, to a packed out prison, you know, absolutely rammed full of buggery, drugs, and paintings getting stolen. Like we had to hire a warden in the end. Things were getting so out of hand. You know, and yes, things have calmed down now that we've hired Basil Harwood as our church warden, former in-flight warden. Aid managed to lure him away to the church to be our church warden. Probably former armed forces. Lured into... Anyway, I'll continue. Properly rambling now. Church warden Basil Harwood said, "It is a random crime. Obviously, it doesn't make you feel good that some items have been stolen," he said. Investigators said the value of the stolen artworks was unknown, but they have sentimental value to the church and, of course, to its members. Yeah, well, I mean, I'd be devastated. I would be really, really upset if my painting that said "Don't steal" was then stolen. I would feel like somebody was trolling me, I think. Mr. Harwood said he believed the thieves had secured a door from inside the church during the day and entered through it later. There was no damage to the building. He added they would be more vigilant and more aware, but would still keep their doors open to members of the public. Of course they will. They're a church. Good people. The force is appealing for anyone with any information about the incident to get in touch. I mean, I don't want to mock people for their superstitions, for their beliefs. But I do wonder, like, can't you just pray for them to come back? Just pray for the paintings to re-emerge? Or can't you just accept that this is God moves in mysterious ways, and for some reason, for one reason or another, he decided that painting warning against stealing was better off in the hands of some thieves. It's all part of his plan, guys. Can't we find some peace, you know, in our hearts? Can't we sort of say, look, okay, somebody has stolen this painting. Somebody engaged in some subterfuge by strategizing a tactic to get into the church outside of hours and steal these holy pictures, these holy paintings. But I, as a good Christian, forgive them. I forgive them. And so then that's it. It's the end of the story, right? I mean, if you were the thief, like, this would be the shortest investigation ever. Like this, if you were the thief and somebody dobbed you in and you went to the police interview room and the police was, the priest and the fucking church warden, Basil, were they, oh yeah, that's the guy. These are our paintings. So he took them. Like, you could literally go, I apologize. I confess that was me. I did that. Do you forgive me? Like, if you were Basil or the priest, you would just have to go, oh, this is tricky. Because I do. The book tells me that I need. Yeah, all right. Yeah, fine. Yeah. Cheeky motherfucker, though, with that technicality. I mean, it sounds like I'm, taking the piss a bit out of Christianity. I'm not. Honestly, I'm not. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. Fine. Crack on. People that go to church, generally, broadly, they appear to be quite nice people to me. I don't know. It's only my experience. But I will say this, we know that Christians take forgiveness incredibly seriously. They will actually forgive you for your misdeeds. We know that they will forgive even the most heinous crimes. We know that because, not to make everything about politics, but Donald Trump has raped and stolen his way through life for decades. And he's like, yeah, I'm totally a Christian. Oh, you're forgiven. You're forgiven. Clean slate, Donny. Like Billy Joe, he done do the Bible now. He likes the Bible now, so I like Donny. And you know he liked the Bible because he's selling them. Donald Trump wouldn't sell the Bible unless he liked the Bible. So you know it's for real. You know it. That's how you know that they're serious about this stuff. If they're willing to forgive Donald for his probably millions of transgressions, lies, crimes, misdemeanors, and still ongoing court cases, if they're willing to forgive him, then, I'm just saying they'd probably look the other, they'd be willing to look the other way, shake hands over this whole, stolen painting thing, I think. I mean, I do wonder, what were they stolen for? Who the fuck? There's this whole thing about, if you're an addict, you might break into somebody's house, you might steal their TV. A few years ago, there was a big thing about copper being stolen from industrial sites because you can sell copper, get cash for it, and then you go and, buy your baggies with it. So to some extent, I have some compassion when people get themselves in that kind of spiral, that cycle, that situation. If you steal a laptop or a car or some copper, I understand it. If you are somebody who is desperate enough to break in somewhere to feed that addiction, I kind of get it. But who the fuck are you selling these paintings to? What kind of a market is there out there for that? And furthermore, what does it say in there in the article about that they think they left the door open in the day? There was a sort of, a sneaky, pre-planned, premeditated thing to it, wasn't there? That to me suggests that that's somebody who's been in there before, right? So who goes into churches? Ask yourself that, right? Obviously it's, priests, churchgoers. Churchgoers tend to be, as I say, reasonably good people. But the other people that go in there are actually kind of addicts and people who need the church for the food bank kind of stuff that they do, which means that, look, I'm not a detective. I'm not I'm not a policeman from where was it? Oh yeah, here we go. Main Road, Little Steeping. I'm not a detective from the Little Steeping police force. I am not. You got me. But I will put money on the fact that this is somebody that's gone in there for the food bank. I've seen some paintings on the wall, and they're like, I bet that'd get me a tenner. I bet somebody would pay me 20 quid for that, right? I mean, this is Little Steeping. This is Little Steeping, guys, right? They've got a church full of people here. They must have done something. That's why they're hiding in the church, trying to be good in later life, trying to get forgiveness for the shit that they've done. One of them's going to want these God tablets up on their wall to feel better about themselves, to feel holy, to feel forgiven and godly. Somebody's going to pay 20 quid for this, and then I can go and get my drugs. Anyway, guys, I know it might sound like I'm scoffing at those who have their own weird and wonderful dependencies, mocking those who've, for one reason or another, developed a physical need for a particular substance. But I'm not. And I shall tell you why I'm not mocking or scoffing those in those sorts of situations. Because, honestly, give it another couple of years and Trump's going to be on his drill baby drill shit. Keir Starmer's going to be cheering him on. The press are going to be cheering them on. And me, I will be offering to suck your fucking dick for a latte. Guys, that's it for this one. Apologies, I had to pre-record this evening's show, you may have noticed. I've probably been live in the live chat, though, I would have thought. I usually drop into the live chat if I can't actually make it a live. Basically, my missus has got COVID, man. She's in the house right now, plagued out in bed. She hasn't left the bed for like 3 days, which means either she's really sick or, she's had enough of parenting. Either is fine. Either way, I get, maybe she's just laying there like, do you know what? I'm having a fucking week off. But anyway, yes, she's not in a good way, guys, this week. So I said that I would pre-record and be in the house, sort the kids, and make her cups of tea. So I'll be back next Monday morning for more alternative paper reviews. If you're enjoying the paper review and the podcast, do jump on the Patreon or join the channel here on YouTube. It starts at only £1 a month. So look, if you are not in a position to fully sign up with it, but you do just want to show some love, you can sign up with, literally just £1 a month. Dirt cheap. And, you may as well do it now before your chocolate bill gets up to fucking £1,000 a month. You end up having to steal fucking tablets off the wall of your local church just to pay me my Patreon money. Anyway, guys, I got to go. Thank you once again to all of you for tuning in every Friday night. Until next time, keep it booge. Keep it influencer. And we are out this motherfucker. Cha!